Hey guys, how are you? So I'm back and ready with a brand new video. And this video was from a question from one of the subscribers to the channel, Lorato. And I'm going to put it here so that you guys can see it. But she asked me the question, please can you do a video on the well, two questions, but I'm going to pick one. Please, can you do a video on the interplay between business risk and compliance risk? And I thought that was a really fantastic question. The thing is, I've addressed this on like my LinkedIn profile, so sometimes I forget that maybe I haven't had this conversation or created this video for YouTube. So it's really great that you asked because now I get to kind of explain. And it's also one of the things that I explain when I do the training, that interplay between business risk or enterprise risk management and compliance. So I wanted to answer this question as my first sort of get myself together following my last video that I shared with you. So thank you so much for the question, Lorato. And this one is for you and anyone who wants to understand it in a lot more depth. So if you think about business as a whole, a business faces a lot of different types of risk, of which one of those types of risk is your compliance risk. So a business can have liquidity risk, which means it doesn't have enough cash flow or readily available funds for them to pay the people who they owe money, let's say your suppliers, or they can have an operational risk where their systems or manufacturing, whatever the case is, stops working and they're not able to deliver the products and services that they offer. Credit risk where, banks advance funds to customers and the customers don't pay back. So you've got a credit risk exposure in that regard. What other types of risks? So all sorts of risks, cybersecurity risks, the risk that you're going to get cyber attacked and data stolen from your customers or your business data, and maybe, they do ransomware and want you to pay them for their money, or they sell that data on the black market. There are a variety of different types of business risks that an organization faces. And one of those is then your compliance risk and your regulatory risk. So your compliance risk is the risk that you won't comply with laws, or you will fail to comply with the different laws that apply to your business. So it's specific to laws that apply to your business, whether it's as a result of the business activities you do. Let's say you're a mine or you're a bank, there's specific laws associated with those activities, or it can be legal entity rules. So tax laws, employment laws, and that type of operational health and safety, depending on what type of business you're in, or environmental laws, whatever the case is, as long as you're an operating business, you have to be able to know the laws that apply to you and that you need to adhere to as you go about doing your business. So that's your compliance risk. Then your regulatory risk is about the risk that you fail to comply with changes in those laws and regulations. So a new law is introduced, or an existing law that applies to you is adapted, and you need to be able to adapt, change what needs to change in terms of your operations, activities, whatever, however that law impacts you. That change in law and regulation, that's a regulatory risk. So all of those risks are business risks, but different types of risks. And the holistic view of all those different risk components is called enterprise risk management. So you're looking at your enterprise as a whole and saying, so where are my risks? How does my risk profile look for this business as a whole, your entire enterprise? So the different disciplines will come into play in terms of the assessment of those different risks. But compliance will specifically look at the compliance risk, regulatory risk side of things. Whereas your credit risk, maybe you've got your credit guys who are going to be looking at that, guys and girls. Liquidity risk and operational risk, you have an operational risk team who looks at, the different things that can happen from an operations and product and service delivery perspective, resilience, business continuity planning, that kind of thing. So different types of risks, of which compliance is one, are all the different types of business risks that are faced. And that entire picture that is painted that allows the board, the executive committee to have a view of all their risks, that's, bringing that big picture view of all those different types of risks is your enterprise risk management. So remember, compliance is a component of or a subset of overall risk that we then as specialists advise on and help businesses understand and make sure that they remain in compliance with. So in short, businesses have a variety of risks that they face. As compliance, we are responsible for the specific risks around compliance risk and regulatory change risk that we look after, but then we feed that into the bigger picture of broader enterprise risk management so that the board and the executives and all other regulatory authorities involved ultimately will have a big picture view of the risk profile of an organization. So I hope that is clear and that you have understood that. And yeah, thanks for the question. That was awesome. So until I come back next time with more of your questions, keep them coming and I will be answering them as we go. Have a fantastic day, guys.